1. This drawing application extends tutorial 34. It shows how we can find child widgets of a class. A class toolbar is on the left of the screen, and the drawing class represents the rest of the screen. The drawing class will be the parent of all widgets we draw. 2. The root class is based on relative layout, but there are widgets for toolbar and drawing, as well as the 4 widgets which will be drawn. These 4 classes are shown in the next slide. We will use numeric property and string property for our variables. Line is also imported, as we need to call some line canvas instructions from inside this Python file. 3. These are the 4 widgets which are drawn and dynamically added to the drawing class. Their shapes are defined in the Kivy language. 4. The toolbox class uses most of the Kivy language Kivy file for instructions for buttons, toggle buttons, and labels. In the Python file, it does only a few things. It defines 3 properties. 2 are for the width and height. Shape is a string which indicates the selected shape. The function on W and on H are called each time by Kivy whenever the width or height changes according to user selection in the toolbar. Whenever the width or height changes, we call a function to erase the box, should it exist. The box is created in the drawing class. 5. The drawing class has to have a lot of code. It is responsible for adding instances of one of the 4 widgets. Besides that, we have some functions like clear, undo, and box. The numeric property, SEL, indicates if a box has been drawn around the current widget. We show here the first half of the function common. It's easy if a user has selected one of the 4 shapes. The drawing class then adds the corresponding widget with the addWidget function. The common function receives the touch argument, so it knows where to place the widget. 6. This is the second half of the common function. It adds one of the last 2 shapes depending on the value of shape property of the toolbox class. 7. The function common is called from either on touchdown or on touch move, which Kivy calls if it detects a click or drag. We also pass the touch parameter to the function common. 8. These functions are called from the Kivy file if the corresponding button is pressed. The function clear will clear all the widgets in the drawing class. Undo removes the last widget from the drawing class. Notice the children function will get all the children widgets of the drawing class. We only remove the topmost widget. There is a try clause, so we will not get an error should there be no widget. In that case, we ask it to do nothing. 9. The box function is called when the last button in the toolbar is pressed. The list of widget childs will be in the CH list. Should there be none, the function just exits. But if there are widgets, it sees if the SEL property is 0 or 1. If SEL is 0, a box is drawn around topmost widget and then SEL is set. If SEL is set and box button is pressed, it will remove the rectangle and clear SEL so a new box may be drawn. 10. The box resize function is called by on W and on H functions. It removes the box should it exist. 11. The root class is based on relative layout. The application's title is Drawing Application 2. This will be displayed on the window. 12. In the Kivy file, random function is imported from the random module with alias of rnd. The random function returns a number from 0 to 1. Next 2 variables are set SZ and off. The Kivy for the first widget is added. It gets its size from the W and H properties. 13. This is the Kivy for the second widget. It is similar to the first except it is based on the rectangle canvas instruction. 14. This widget draws a triangle which points upwards. 15. This widget draws a triangle which points downwards. 16. In the root class, attributes are created to point to toolbox and drawing class. The toolbox ID is set and it creates its own drawing attribute. We could have renamed it if we had wanted, however that adds only confusion. The toolbox will only use the first 100 pixels of the screen. 17. In the canvas instructions, we set the color as reddish, which is applied to the entire toolbox. Then 3 blue lines are drawn. These lines will delimit the width and height sections, as we will see. 18. The first toggle button is drawn. It is the ellipse shape. Here, we can see how the shape string is created. The on state is called whenever the state changes. The state is a string. It can be normal or down. We add a string :0 to it. Thus, the two possible values are normal 0 or down 0. We also set the initial state as down. There are canvas after instruction to draw over the toggle button. 19. Toggle button 2 is for the rectangle shape. Now the state variable is set as normal 1 or down 1 when the toggle button is pressed. 20. Toggle button 3 is for the triangle up shape. 21. Toggle button 4 is for the triangle down shape. 22. We have a label indicating this section deals with width. There is an up button, which increments the W property. 23. The down button decrements W, and finally the label indicates the current value of W. 24. The label indicates we are in the height section. The up button increments the value of the age property. 25. There is a button that when pressed, it will decrement the age property. Finally, the label indicates the current value of the age property. Both W and H are bounded between 1 and 49. 26. The buttons for clear, undo, and box are created and call the appropriate function in the drawing class. 27. The drawing class itself has very little Kivy code. It has the attribute toolbox. It is sized to fit the rest of the screen and is colored white. 28. This is one result of running the program. A separate video goes over the usage in detail. Because W and H are properties, any change in their values will update all the child widgets. Should we not want this behavior, we will have to make them regular variables. 29. You can find additional information including the source code at pythonmobile.blogspot.com.